You're watching the Chaos Protocol on Transplanar RPG, an all-transgender, people of color-led dark fantasy TTRPG show set in an original non-colonial, anti-Orientalist multiverse. If you like what you see, please consider pledging to our Patreon to support the show and get access to a patron-only after-show, early podcast episodes, GM notes, character sheets, and even the chance for your tabletop OC to cameo in our series. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy. The Chaos Protocol is a dark fantasy series that may contain content that is triggering for some viewers. Content warnings for this episode include grief, ghosts, blood, complex relationships, romance, trauma, and references to sex and food. Arc 3, Episode 2, Entombed, Alive, from Praying Beside the Teeth That Killed Me by Connie Chong. Strike Team Nova. Following your hitchhiker exploits, the three of you have been called upon by a warm but stern Hand Wuyin to clean up your mess in the archives. Artemis, for once, is not around to bail you out. Word spreads quickly that Fate herself has instructed the patron saint of mortals to find the errant hitchhiker and bring them home. If anyone can track down elusive prey, it's the Great Huntress. Joining you in the dusty recesses of the archives is a very, very, very upset and annoyed Cove. Somehow, Cove is also roped into the blame of this hitchhiker debacle, much to her chagrin. And it is here that we find the four of you now, elbow deep in scattered tomes and loose sheafs of parchment, random scrolls laid about here and there, stacking books back onto shelves for the foreseeable future. Overseeing your activities is a rather high-strung Elspeth, who flits from agent to agent with stringent demands of how to organize scrolls, or more often how not to organize them because you're messing it all up. So we're gonna zoom in now over to you, Xainan. What task has Elspeth saddled you with?
It's scrolls. Again, Xainan has probably gone through this, what was just a stack of paper, some of them, because those scrolls were opened and unrolled because Kamani made a giant mess. And Xainan can kind of do like book organizing, read the spine, put it in alphabetical order, that kind of stuff. But scrolls are, it feels like punishment. This feels like punishment that Elsbeth specifically has given Xainan this task because he hates every second of it and has probably reorganized them 4 times.
Yes, and she keeps coming over to say, I'm sorry, Esh, that's incorrect. Actually, did I say you were supposed to organize them based on the binding of the center? No, I meant weight. I meant weight.
The
so
weight?
Can you just like redo that? Yeah, just do it based on weight, please.
Yeah.
Do you know how many pounds of books were lost when the hitchhiker sucked them onto their body?
I didn't exactly stop to weigh them, no.
All right, so don't go band for band with me on weight here, all right? Bye! As she like kind of clacks away on her talons.
And Xainan reorganizes them by weight, and you just see him holding 2 and trying to like gauge which one is heavier.
Just roll me a
down.
D6. Just roll me a D6.
Oh god.
No,
it's gonna be wrong.
Give me a D6.
4.
You're pretty sure you got it right.
Yeah, listen, he can weigh a gun, he can weigh powder, he can weigh random things. He can do this. They're lighter than a gun. They're significantly lighter than a gun. And he's weighing them and puts them down and just starts to pretend like he is doing it right.
Yes, you start organizing the scrolls by weight, and the scrolls at Trans in the archives get huge. There are some that are like the width of wine barrels, and that's on the moderate size. Like some of these are massive. So you find yourself, I think, kind of deep in the stacks, like rolling up against these massive scrolls that have kind of come undone and a bit loose. So you have to sort of like chase them up their sheafs of parchment and then slot them back into their shelves and try not to strain your back while you're doing it.
That's more familiar. That's like rolling bales. That he can do. The moment that there's knowledge of how the scrolls are actually supposed to be organized or is involved, though, he's out. Because some of the big ones weigh less than the smaller ones. It's nonsense. It's nonsense.
So you sink into this manual labor, like shoving and heaving your weight against these very hay bale-like scrolls at this point. And that's when a flicker of movement on your periphery snatches your attention. A wisp of white?
His eyes immediately turn back, and ever since leaving being a knife, he has been doing the same calculation every time he sees something out of the corner of his eye, especially something that is glimmering or white. And he looks to see if perhaps he sees Artemis.
You do. Going around the corner of a shelf, a long ribbon of white moonlit hair trailing out from underneath the brass bottom of a helm. And you see 3 arrows poking out of her back, bleeding. Something about her form ephemeral, bare footsteps, and then she's gone around the shelf.
He runs after her.
You abandon the scrolls, and you follow. As you whip around the corner, we turn ourselves through the archives to find Seir. What unenviable task has Elspeth saddled you with?
I believe that Elspeth has assigned Seir to some dusty, incredibly, semi-dingy corner of the archives. One that has, before Kimani got there, was already a little forlorn, was perhaps a tad messy, but now is the opportunity to fix triple the mess. And all of these items are old and delicate and require a light touch. All things that Seir is obviously famously good at, right?
Yep.
And there are moments where he's picking up a well-loved, very, very dusty tome. It looks leather-bound, but there's bits of its main wax skin that's peeling off, and he's just holding it very carefully, gently with his large hand, and is attempting to put it back in the shelf without tearing anything. There's a moment.
Careful, Seir! You know, that book is over 10,000 years old, and it's one of a kind in the multiverse, so if you mess it up, that's it. Zip, nada, it's gone.
As you keep reminding me, Elspeth, yes, I will be very careful. And he's very carefully trying to slot it in.
Okay, roll me a d6.
I rolled a 4. Also.
Okay. A few wings of wax peel off from the edges, but you're able to slot the rest of it mostly whole inside. Well, you're lucky it's just a recipe book. And then Elspeth stalks off to a different corner of the archives to do something else.
And you see Seir just sits there, nearly putting his face into his hands, and he says, I feel like she has it out for me. I didn't even destroy the archives. It was Kimani. This wasn't even my fault.
But here you are in the dankest, most mildewy, messiest part of the archives, and you continue to handle these extremely old books that are basically falling apart in your hands. And as you do, kind of trying to get past from behind you, Cove. She kind of bumps into your hip and just goes, ugh, can you take up any more space?
Could you find yourself a different shelf to do your work in, or is your one task to eternally torment me?
Well, Elspeth assigned me here. That's real, that's a real big head you've got, thinking that anything I could do is related to you in any way, shape, or form. Elspeth assigned me to this shelf over here, okay? So I'm gonna do my work over here, you do your work over there, we don't talk to each other, how about that?
Fine. Works great for me.
Fine, works great for me. Cove is also having a lot of trouble with the books. Just like you, it's hard to tell who's having a worse time. And after 3 seconds of steely silence, she goes, It's all your fault I'm here. I wasn't even involved in the hitchhiker chase.
There's a very, very distinct sound of like a bit of binding shifting and maybe like semi-tearing as he's like shoving it into the shelf. What did you just say to me?
I said it's all your fault I'm here. I wasn't even doing anything. I was just trying to bust
fault. He like whirls around. My fault. You were in my way during a high-speed chase, taking up space. Of course you deserve to be here. You stopped 3 agents for completing their task. You absolutely deserve to be here.
Seir? Or are you as dense as your antlers are? I was in the dining hall eating and trying to put food in compost, and the rest of the trays were the trays, or you were the one getting in my way. I was doing something completely normal.
It's clearly running. Go.
Yeah, well, the world doesn't revolve around you, Seir.
You need to have better awareness around.
Excuse me. This is a library. I will be writing both of you up on your oracles.
What? Can you do that?
There's no saying what I can or can't do. Would you like to find out, Cove?
No.
And would you like to find out, Seir?
No.
I didn't think so. If you're going to argue, do it quietly. I don't want to hear it.
And then, without a noise, Elspeth vanishes. Whatever.
Thayer turns around and continues his thankless work beside the person he finds the most irritating in all the multiverse.
And as you shook a book into the shelf, we cut over to Lumièra. Lumièra, what entirely thankless and terrible task has Elspeth saddled you with?
Elspeth has assigned me to fixing the labels on each tome. Each tome has a little label that's kind of like the Dewey Decimal System that assigns a book to each of its place. And some of them got ripped and torn. So Lumièra's now project is once Xainan and Seir put those tomes back, Lumièra is to replace the little paneling on the book that shows where they're supposed to be.
I love that. Yeah, so you're kind of following in Xainan and Seir's footsteps as they work their way through the shelves, but replacing the labels is like a painstakingly precise process. It takes you like 3 times the time to replace a label than it does to like organize and shelve a book or a tome. So we find you hunched over a particularly difficult to unravel scroll, where the old label is like in the top left corner, but you're trying really hard. It's like getting a sticker off something really obstinate, right? And you're trying and you're trying and you're trying not to like rip half of it and leave half of it back on. And that's when Elspeth always moves without noise, right? You don't even hear her feathers rippling. She will make noise if she wants you to hear her approach, and this time she doesn't. So you don't hear her until you hear her voice, literally right next to your ear as you're peeling. Lumièra.
Yes, Elspeth.
How's your little label venture going?
Irritatingly so, Elspeth.
Yes, well, I'm so sorry about that. You know what's especially irritating is having the archives in such a state in the first place.
You act as if I did this on purpose.
Oh, I'm sure you didn't, and my sympathies extend to you most deeply.
Do they?
But yes, of course. Look me in the face, Lumièra, and say that I don't actually care about you.
Lumièra rolls her eyes and goes back to trying to get this particularly obstinate label off of a book.
As her fingernail kind of clicks against it, Elspeth kind of clacks her teeth together and goes on to say,
well, in addition to caring about you very deeply, I also care about, our little arrangement. It's been a little while since you've, given me your end of the bargain, so what's up?
Lumièra, when Elspeth mentions it, she very audibly, exasperatedly sighs. and gives up on trying to peel this label from one of the spines of the book and turns around, steeples her fingers together, and looks at Elsbeth. Everything on her face shows this is not the fucking time, right? But she still is trying to keep some type of semblance of professionalism and courtesy while she speaks back to Elspeth. And it's just like, it has been a while since I have given an update on the report. And she lowers her voice a bit more, kind of looking around to see whether or not anyone is close in their proximity.
It's okay, you can speak freely as long as you don't scream. This part of the archives is very difficult to hear people in.
It has been weeks since I have seen our project, as well as others. As you know, Xainan has just been released from therapeutics and recovery, and some things were more pressing at the time.
Oh. Lumièra, you seem to misunderstand what I'm saying.
I don't think I do.
No, because this isn't a request, Lumièra. This is a demand. You don't have a choice in this matter. Give me the information we've agreed upon.
Elsbeth, we came to an understanding that when information was given to me, I would give it. There has been no new information. Therefore, the last update you received was the last update you got.
Oh, don't try to wiggle out of this one, Lumièra.
No one is wiggling,
know,
Elsbeth.
I've got
Elsbeth,
exactly...
this is not the time.
Shh. It's a lie.
Are you shushing me?
Of course I am. You're in my domain. And you're shouting. Let's keep our voices tempered, Lumièra, because I have exactly what you need. And she reaches out from behind her robes and pulls out another tome of chronergy. You notice that it is in the similar fashion as the first journal you've been given, but it seems to be a second one. And this one is not redacted at all.
Lumièra's eyes widen almost as like a cat that is targeting their prey and is getting ready to pounce. Her pupils dilate very wide and then narrow significantly, almost to pinpoints, as she looks at the tome, those letters glittering almost in the same gold that tips her left hand. And before she can stop herself, she reaches out for it. And when she gets halfway there, she snatches her hand back.
All I need is another report.
Elsbeth, I don't even have the... And before she finishes the sentence, she stops herself.
Have the what? Well, it doesn't matter. Just give me your next report.
And she looks between Elspeth and the book, and back to Elspeth again, and back to the book, and she does that a few times before her eyes wander off over in the way, like in the direction that she knows Seir is sitting in. As soon as I get something new, you will be the first to know.
Are you lying, Lumièra? Or are you telling the truth?
Lumièra is lying.
Elsbeth studies you. Are you getting cold feet? You can be honest with me, Lumièra. You want to call it off?
Elsbeth, I'm sure you are in the privy and know. Time magic is strictly forbidden at Trans.
Well, of course, that's why this deal between us is so covert.
What do you expect we do when fate herself were to find out? The purveyor of everything, she will intentionally find out. And what do we do then?
So you're scared.
I never said I was scared. I asked you a simple question.
She won't find out.
And how are you so sure?
Why do you think I'm so interested in getting these reports from you in the first place, Lumièra? I don't care about Xainan Esh or Seir Singh's twin. But someone else does.
Lumièra's eyes narrow at the mention of her team. Then who? Who's so
I can't
interested?
tell you. I can't tell you. But I'm getting squeezed, Lumièra.
So am I.
Well, I guess we're at an impasse then.
We sure are.
So this is how this is gonna work. And she puts the tome back behind her and it just vanishes into a pocket dimension or some other. And she says, if you don't get me those reports, I'll tell your precious boys that you've been spying on them. Let's see how they like that breach of trust.
Lumièra grits her teeth. Almost, it's so hard you can almost hear them grinding against each other.
See, if the carrot didn't work, I'm more than happy to go with the stick. Xainan, you round the corner, and you don't see that apparition of Artemis anywhere down this dusty corridor. At least not immediately. There's another fluttering of motion at the other side of your periphery, and as your eyes snap to follow it, there you see her again, leading you deeper and deeper into the stacks, rounding yet another corner.
If the last Mayday mission left Xainan with anything besides care for Nova, it was resolve that Artemis will never steer him wrong. He already had that, but now it's, we'll say, forged a little stronger as he runs forward, chasing the arrow.
You run forward, following those 3 arrows, following that long moonlit hair, following the blood dribbling from her skin that disappears as soon as it hits the floor. And when you reach the place that this ghost, this spirit, this apparition has led you, turn the corner and it's gone again. You wait a beat and you don't feel any other movement on either side of your periphery. And then your eyes fall on the tomes that are here. In fact, it's actually not tomes that this spirit has led you to. It's a series of stored library checkout cards. Old ones that have been placed here in the archives. And one in particular sticks out of the shelf directly in front of your face.
Xainan, who has shown very little curiosity about the archives, pretty much the entire time he's been in here. For the very first time, his interest is piqued by this, and he reaches out and picks it up.
You take out this card. It seems to be the most recent addition to all the other rather old-looking cards here. Like maybe someone Elspeth most likely just kind of shoved it in here to make room for more by the front circulation desk. You look at this card, and it's entirely unremarkable, except for the fact that every single name down the line for like over a dozen entries is one of the 3 patron saints. Checking out the same book, back and forth, back and forth. The most recent entry is, you recognize the date, it's right after Singh died, and it was checked out by Wuyan. The title of the book is The Passions of the God Spine by Dalapathi Saeed.
Fuck. Xainan looks at it. I don't think that he has much context for what this card means other than it is tied to a book. He knows how to check out a book, but he does look at how long they've been passing it back and forth and starts to look for a pattern, anything, and wondering, where he might even begin to look for this book. Or
Absolutely.
if it's even still here.
So this card has been shelved in with others of its kind, so all for the same book. And as you pull out other cards, you see that the patron saints go back and forth, like all the way back for days, weeks, months, years, even years of just passing the same book back and forth. And it gets to the point where you're able to find the last library checkout card 2 years back, and then the messy organization of the archives loses you. You can't find anything more old than that, but you have a feeling there are. As for the book itself, actually, surprisingly, thanks to Elspeth's briefing at the beginning of your little library venture here, you remember how to find books based on genre and alphabet. So you get the feeling that this seems like maybe a fiction adventure romance. So maybe that's where you should look for it, and you could just find it alphabetically by author last name.
Jade. And he just starts to go through and wander around and look for this book.
Okay. Roll me a d6 to see how long it takes you to find it.
Yeah. This is a wild thing that I'm looking for.
Yeah, the higher the number, the shorter.
6.
Wow, okay. Yeah, you find it as quickly as you possibly could as Xainan Esh, which is within 15 minutes you locate it. And you see it. It's right there. You see the spine of it, S for Saeed, kind of right there between 2 other books, also written by the same author. It seems to be part of the same trilogy. And you pull out The Passions of the God Spine. And it is very obviously a romance/drama/adventure novel that has long since lost its jacket. There's no jacket on it. But the hardcover of it is cheaply engraved. With mountains and roses. It's this kind of gold thread, but you just know looking at it that it's not real gold.
Xainan first actually looks at the book not for its substance, but as an object of interest, of where it has been and who has handled it, and immediately starts thinking about all of the rooms that this book has been in that only the hands of fate have ever been in, and things like that, and starts to look it over, wondering why, sure, the others, but why Artemis has spent so much time with this book.
Do you open it?
Yeah.
How do you open it? Do you leaf through it quickly, or do you start from the beginning?
I think Xainan starts because he is looking at it more as an object of investigation. He kind of flips it open, reads just the cover page, and then thumbs through the whole thing really quickly.
Okay, the cover page, it kind of just starts with prologue, right? And immediately you know that this follows a heroine who quests for love and drama in some made-up mountain range called the Godspine, and it's not well written. It's kind of bad, but it's weirdly engrossing. It's a really engrossing beach novel. That's the first page that you get. And then as you leaf through the rest of the pages, you notice that this book is annotated. There are certain passages that have been circled, certain words and sentences underlined, arrows drawn, and in some cases, even notes written in the margins by 3 separate sets of handwriting. All 3 of which you recognize. You see Wuyen's handwriting, strong, big, confident. You see Lucy's handwriting, looping, elegant, razor sharp. And Artemis's handwriting, brief, practical, legible.
He starts specifically looking for any large sections written by any of the 3 of them, but specifically things that Artemis has not only written, but marked and underlined.
Why don't you roll me another d6? And let's see what you can get while you're here in the archives.
It's a 4.
A 4. Okay. Not good, not bad. You note that even the long passages of notes in the margins, all of it is related directly to the text itself. It's either Wu Yin gushing about how much he loves a specific chapter and like the things that happened in the chapter, or it's Lucy doing a character analysis of like one of the broody love interests, or it's Artemis striking out grammatical errors and making like sentence structure suggestions.
Okay. Yeah, I think he sits with that for quite a while because this is a window not only into Artemis that it almost feels invasive that he is looking at this, but it's in a library. Like he even has the moment of pause of like, should I be looking at this? A, because the text is like, it gets, romantic and he's just like, I'm sitting in a library reading this. This is awkward. But I think also just like the level of being able to see what the three of them say in this book is as a agent, this is personal. This is not as the hands of fate. This is, some of these notes are very normal, human, mortal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it strikes you how mundane and normal and kind of boring these notes are. Almost a little too boring.
Yeah.
Seir. We find you stacking books next to Cove. Going, working in recalcitrant silence. The only noise is whoosh, 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 and occasionally a rip as one of you handles a tome a little too hard. And Cove seems to want to make it a contest. Like, she's putting in books faster and faster and kind of glancing over at you. And if you don't match her pace, she goes, and keeps going a little bit faster.
And Seir finds it so annoying and like literally mumbles to himself, I literally broke all of your records already. This is incredibly childish.
What was that? What'd you say?
Nothing, focus.
Yeah. You focus. Tell me to focus. I'm already focused. Are you focused? I don't think so.
It is a miracle that Striking Phoenix gets anything done with you yapping over there.
Yeah, I could say the same as you. Takes one to know one, Seir. Takes one to know one.
Do you have any other sentence comebacks that takes one to know one? You said that to me like 4 times now.
That's what she... Shut up. And Cope goes back, like, in, like, angry silence. And as you glance over at her, having won this series of verbal jabs, you notice that the book that she's currently slotting in is titled, Curse Work. And then she's, like, slots it all the way back into the shelf.
And Seir thinks of Artemis. Artemis is away, and he's here with Nova, which is good. It's good to be with Nova. But the little hunter feels a little lost. He was told to wait, train, be studious with his training, with what he needs to do to prepare for the next Mayday mission that will undoubtedly come to Nova's hands. But he feels hollow, like something's missing, and that's because violence isn't with him. His other crescent blade. He's been training with patience. He's been working with patience, but violence is being healed, fixed, maintained by Artemis through whatever means that the Great Huntress goes about it. And they're a little nervous about that. And I think there's a moment he sees that line of curse work and remembers the wildness and almost erratic violence that radiated off his blade in an unfamiliar way. But at least it felt good to have violence by his side. And now with Artemis hunting Kimani, who better? Who better to hunt down the hitchhiker that we failed to capture? But what about violence? Maybe it's time for the little hunter to help out. Carry his weight for the Great Huntress. And I think he taps the hilt of patience and says, "What do you think? Maybe we'll find something about your sibling." And he immediately like launches forward, uses like his fingers, immediately pulls out that book. And
Okay, you
opens it.
Cove slaps your wrist away as soon as you enter her space. Hey, this is my side. You don't see me getting off fingers in your pie.
Hey, fuck off for a second. I need to read this. And he still takes this and opens it.
Rather childishly, but very intensely, she like wrestles with the book with you, and she's saying, "No, this book is supposed to go here. All right? I don't want Elspeth yelling at me again because of you."
I'll put it back. I just need to read it for a second. Stop getting in my way.
Oh yeah, well, what do I get out of this, huh? If Elspeth comes here and sees my side all out of whack because of you, I'm not taking the fall for you again.
Then just stand there and watch me like you always fucking do, huh?
I don't just stand there and watch you, Seir. You are so self-centered. You know, you really, really do think that you're the sun and everything revolves around you, but you're not even the moon. Gah! And she's like trying to grab the tome out of you.
Seir's grip tightens.
What? I strike a
when
nerve.
When she says, "You're not even the moon." And he gives Cove a death-chilling glare as he looks at her and just says, "Let go. I am helping my hand of fate by reading this book. So step off, Cove. Artemis is not always going to be there to save you. You know that, right?"
What did you just say?
You heard me. Let go.
I think this is the perfect time for Lumièra to meet this aisle between Cove and Seir while she's attempting to relabel the books that they both have put back in.
Yes. Elsbeth is kind of long gone at this point, and you round the corner and see Cove and Seir, like, stock still in this standoff.
Can you two please get back to work? The
Yeah.
longer we're in here, the more I have to deal with the both of you bitching.
Fine. But you're cleaning up the rest of my section if you want it so bad. And Cove shoves the tome back to you and stalks off. She passes. she pauses and then like gently tucks the book back into your hands, Seir. And then she moves to go to a different section, but to do so she has to brush past Lumièra. And as she does, she very casually kind of clears her throat and says, "I'll see you later."
Is all Cove gets as a reply. And she'll turn back to Seir. You put these in the wrong order. And Lumièra will pull them out and switch them transversely and sticks a label on it.
Thank you.
Always. And she'll turn sharply on her heel to the next aisle.
And Seir watches her. And there is a moment where it sinks in how particularly vicious he was at Cove. And there's a moment he's like, maybe that's a little far. And then he thinks about it for a moment and it's just like, but do I care enough though? No. And flips the book facing him and taps Patience on the hilt again and says, "Now without a jabbering distraction, let's see if we can help violence."
You open up this book about curses and curse work, and just even through glancing at it, you learn quite a lot, actually. This book seems to be perfect for you. It's a primer on curses, and you learn essentially that curses vary in complexity, in severity, in manner of acquisition, manner of lifting. Like, they are infinite and diverse, which kind of stumps you at first. But then you stumble upon a line of reasoning that is immediately tangibly helpful, which is this idea that, generally speaking, you need a source stronger than what bestowed a curse to break it. And all the descriptions in this book point toward whatever's happening to violence as indeed being a curse.
So, cursed. Right. Yep. Okay. Conclusion. Same similar conclusion that Artemis already said. Stronger source.
And as you keep reading, you stumble upon another line of reasoning about curses, which is that despite their infinite diversity, every curse abides its own rule. It has its own particularities, its own internal logic, a language that it follows. If you want to lift it, you have to know what that language is.
Learning the language of curses. I mean, what's a curse but a different flavor of doom? How hard can that be? And he flips the pages more as he thinks about the language of curse work. He thinks about... He keeps going back to the fact that it needs a source more powerful than what granted it. A god cursed his weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Artemis is best suited, but if I learn the language of curse work, patience, maybe I can help them. It'll be faster, and we'll have violence at our side, and you'll be reunited with your sibling, and you'll never be apart again. This will never happen again.
As you speak to Patience and you flip closer to the end of this book, you feel your crescent blade begin to vibrate against your hip, reaching a fervor pitch as you reach the final chapter of this book that is simply titled Calamity. And this chapter addresses a forbidden way to break any curse. It's quite simple, really. It reads, simply violate the terms of your curse. That's all you have to do. But in return, you await disaster. So if you have been cursed to never sleep, simply sleep. However, this method is not advised, as one can plunge oneself and others into calamity.
And Seir thinks for a moment. Violence is all we know. We don't know the full rules yet. Patience. All we know is that violence is out of sorts, that it craves further violence, that it craves to hurt all, including its bearer. So, is it keep inflicting violence?
Patience kind of dies down. We can feel it burning cold against your hip. Having learned the same information that you have, some aspect of that sentience, sapience, that the city of heaven imparted upon it, lingering still in the Syndicate.
Well, good to... And he lingers on the word calamity. Well, good thing I know all about that. And he snaps the tome shut, takes a deep breath. Obviously, Artemis is the best suited to fix this. If we have to, then we'll bring this up. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. And he will carefully slot the book back into where Cove put it. And then start slowly picking up the pace with the rest of Cove's work. And he taps Patience affectionately, comfortingly. I know you miss them. I know. I'll make this right, I promise.
As you tap, tap, tap on the hilt, you feel that cold burning kind of die down as your words seem to have reached Patience, and forestalled their anxiety. Can a blade even feel anxiety? But whatever it is, you've forestalled it for now. And on the tap, tap, tap of your nail against the hilt, we go to Lumièra. Tap, 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 picking at the corner of a label, working your way down the stacks, following Seir and Xainan. And speaking of which, you actually round the corner and almost bump bodily into Xainan, who is engrossed in, as far as you can tell, a really trashy romance book.
It always pleases me to see my friends reading.
Xainan snaps the book closed. And Lumièra, you've seen him embarrassed before. He's not embarrassed. He is focused. Yeah. Just take a little walk. I will get back to the scrolls if Elsbeth is wondering where I am.
Mm-hmm. And Lumièra will attempt to, unless you stop her, will attempt to grab the book out of your hand to look at it.
Oh, he'll just fully show her.
Never took you for the romance novel type, Pop Pop.
Apparently it's an interesting read. There's a lot of grammar problems in it, though.
That's why romance tends not to be my favorite. And Lumièra will continue to just like walk past Xainan after that statement to go back to her task.
As you walk past Xainan, Seir, you've reached the end of Cove's stack. And as you round the corner to the next shelf, you see Lumièra walking toward you and Xainan at the end of this hall.
As Seir walks past Lumièra, he smiles at her. Seir, since we've come back to the City of Heaven, walks with a swagger, Lumièra. There's a before where he would carefully, methodically not take up too much space. He moves with confidence. He knows what he is. And by knowing what he is, he holds himself well. And he looks at you and he smiles and he says, "Do I need to assist the old man over there?"
The old man can hear you.
That's why we said it out loud, please.
By the way, good work. I know Elsbeth gave you the most tedious and annoying task. Good job.
Elsbeth is the most irritating harpy I've ever come across. And
Honestly,
Lumièra says that very like lowbrow, like library whisper.
Oh, Seir matches your whisper and is like, "I'm fairly certain that she has something out against me. I do not know how or when I offended her, and I think I'll pay for this for the rest of my existence. Whatever sin I committed."
I think she's just mad. And as Xainan says that, instead of putting the book on the shelf, he does fully just tuck it under his arm, inside of his jacket.
Found some light reading.
Something like that.
Xainan seemed to have found himself a smut novel.
Ho ho ho! I think it's good. I mean,
It's for research.
I know
Mhm.
with everything with Naimsa, right?
I think when Seir mentions Naim, Lumièra cannot stop herself from like laughing. Like,
What? What? It's true.
Anyways, I think we have a dinner we're supposed to go to in a minute.
And with a dinner bell noise, your oracle whisks into existence in the center of you three and says,
Fate.
Oh, speaking of which, and speaking of eating Naeem's dinner, there is a dinner party that the three of you have been invited to, as well as Cove. Can one of you go fetch her? Or oh, there she is.
and rounding the corner is Cove, arms stacked with books. What? Someone say my name?
Doing
yes,
some light reading?
Cove.
No, I'm trying to stack these away.
Well, hello, I'm talking. Excuse me, it's me, your beloved oracle.
Hi,
Cove. you
powerful.
have been you have been invited to a dinner party at Naeem's place, as has Seir and Lumièra and Xainan. A super normal dinner party.
There goes my lovely evening.
Why'd you say it like that?
No reason, just 'cause it's normal.
And Cove sighs and sets down the stack of books and starts to join your party, but like takes a wide berth away from Seir as they do. Right, the dinner party. Yeah, no, it is super normal. Why is your oracle like that?
I don't know.
Like what? Adorable and amazing?
No, they're not supposed to sound like that, or have
Yeah, we know.
personalities.
I have no idea. This is
I
just how
don't
it
think
is.
I'm broken. I think I'm just special.
You are.
indeed
You are.
special.
Uh-huh.
You're very special.
Cove, why don't you go put down those books and Seir, come here. And
Mm.
Xainan pulls like a piece of tape or something that came off of one of the books, like off of your shoulder. Just throws it on the floor.
Oh, thanks.
Well, don't just leave them here. And Lumièra will go and pick up the stack and go put them back in the shelves where they belong.
Oh, right. Thanks, Lumièra. And kind of like low, but in a way that Seir and Xainan can both hear, but clearly addressed to you, Lumièra. Seir's being even more of a dick than usual. I don't know why. I don't know who pissed in his cereal. The hitchhiker. Not me. Was taking it out on me for some reason. Anyway,
Xainan
Now at least
shares a
be in the same room for more than 15 minutes before you are at each other's throats. It is really irritating.
Xainan shares a conspiratorial, just little smile at Seir with his back to Cove.
Mm-hmm.
And he just grins as you know which side of this fight he is on.
Fine. I'm not trying to pick a fight. It's just like it's been sour all evening at me for no fucking reason. All right, we're done here.
Stairs,
Who
daggers.
even did this aisle? It is way out of
We're
order.
going. No, Lumièra, we are going.
Yeah, we gotta
I'm
get out of here
hungry.
before Elizabeth comes here, okay? Like we've got dinner, and we'll be back here soon, okay? Let's go.
All right, follow the oracle. Your lovely, adorable, amazing, incredible, one-of-a-kind oracle.
And your
Our
oracle.
very correct oracle.
Nova, the journey to Naeem's loft is thankfully uneventful. And soon enough, the four of you find yourselves in one of many residential chambers at Trans. Chamber here, of course, is a bit of a misnomer. There is a sky above your heads, and this one shifts from blue to periwinkle as evening descends. There is an open-air courtyard bounded by various apartment complexes, and a bubbling fountain in the center, and various streams and stone bridges connecting these buildings. Naeem is in apartment 3-401A, and so you go to the third building, walking under the swaying branches of mango trees, and you take a lift to the fourth floor. Naeem's door is the first one on the left. That much, Xainan, you are very intimately familiar with.
Well, go ahead. One of you knock. Don't you know how to do this? Knock on doors?
Xai-
I would, but I'd be
Xainan
banging my
knocks
entire head.
immediately.
Knock,
And he
knock,
puts
knock.
his hat under his arm.
And as you do, there is a beat, and you feel kind of Cove stiffen and straighten a little next to you.
And Seir, behind you, smiles conspiratorially at you, remembering the way you plucked tape off of his shoulder, and he reaches to the front of your lapel and just like shifts it slightly and dusts off your shoulder. You gotta look good. And then leans back.
And with that, the door opens, and surprise!
Oh,
And we're gonna end the session there. So thank you all so much for tuning in to the premiere of Arc 3 of the Chaos Protocol. I have been your game master and creative producer, Connie Chong. If you remember anything about The Second Stranger, you'll know we are in for a hell of a ride. I'm going to do introductions real fast, and we have some outro announcements before we tie things up. So I'm going to pass things over to Val.
Hi everybody, my name is Valiant Dorian. I use he, him, his pronouns. You can find me around the internet, Valiant Dorian, or also Spirit Bear. Please enjoy that lovely treasure I just set you on. Please go follow me on all my socials to know about projects I'm doing at any given time, especially Blue Sky, since, you know, that whole thing with Twitter. But tonight, I have the distinct pleasure of playing your favorite hater of the Doom Boy, Seir, who uses he, they pronouns. I'm going to pass it on over to the old man.
Thanks for that, King Hater. Hi everyone, I'm Kai. You can find me all over the internet as Estelle of Imladris. You can also preferably go follow me over on Blue Sky, but I am still available in most other places. And yeah, you can keep coming back for more of whatever surprise Connie has in store. Sam?
Hello. I've been Lumièra. My name's Sam. Star. I use she, they, and the occasional Fae pronouns. You can find me all across the interwebs and social medias at Lust for Life X, LUSTTFORLIFEEX. And you can keep up there with all of the lovely stuff that I am and will be working on in the future. Take us home, boss.
It's me, the boss. Before we do these outro announcements, we're gonna pull the winner of the second $50 merch store gift card. So C is currently gonna do the Moobot thing. Let's drum up some drum rolls here. So we haven't entered yet. Now's your literal last chance to do so. Go ahead, C, whenever you're ready. Ding, 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 ding. Envious person has been accepted as a giveaway winner. So if that's you, envious person, we will be in touch with you shortly. Please announce that you are here in chat so we can confirm your receipt of this reward. Congratulations, and thank you so much to everyone who entered, posted on our social media posts, and joined the stream tonight. Speaking of which, if you've been enjoying the series so far, please get in the comments and talk about us. Share a review, make a social media post, or a TikTok. Tell your friends. It really helps us continue to create the kinds of stories that we care about. And it shows sponsors that they should definitely keep paying us to do the thing that we do. Thank you all so much for being here with us, and please stick around if you're on Twitch for the raid. We're going to be raiding someone really awesome right now, no doubt. Follow us on social media at Transplanar RPG everywhere. Join the Discord. One of the mods, please place the Discord invite, the little URL in the chat, and remember to trust in her will. We'll see you back here next week, same time, same place, off that classic Connie cliffhanger. Journey well, Transplanards.